I've worked with hundreds of single moms at this point, and there's this one pattern I see over and over again that keeps women stuck more than almost anything else. More than the financial stress, more than the co-parenting drama, more than all of that. And it's that they've completely lost who they are outside of being a single mom. It becomes their whole identity. That's how they introduce themselves. That's how they think about themselves. That's how they make decisions. Everything filters through this lens of, I'm a single mom, and nothing else gets through. And I get it because I've been there too. After my divorce, I remember looking in the mirror one day and being like, wait, who even am I anymore? Like, I literally couldn't answer that question. All I knew was I was a single mom and someone's ex, and that was it. That was the whole thing. So, what I'm going to share with you today is the exact process I used to break out of that. And the same process I've now used with hundreds and hundreds of women who came to me feeling completely invisible, completely lost, completely defined by their circumstances. But after learning this process and implementing it, they break free from that prison and they start building businesses, dating again, actually enjoying their lives, feeling like themselves for the first time in years, because they actually let go of that constraints because they understood that they're humans and deserves to live to their fullest potential like anyone else. So, if you stick with me for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to reclaim your identity. Not in some woo-woo way, but in a real, practical, actually works kind of way. You're going to get the exact exercises I give my private clients, the mindset shifts that make the biggest difference, and honestly, just some stuff that's going to change your life if you understood it, implement it, and stick to it. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so let me tell you about this woman I worked with called Sarah. Sarah came to me about 2 years after her divorce. And on paper, she was doing great. Good job, two amazing kids, nice apartment. She was fine. That's what everyone told her, right? You're doing so well. But when I sat down with her in our first session and I asked her this really simple question, Sarah, tell me about yourself. Who are you? She just froze. And then after this long, uncomfortable pause, she goes, I'm I'm a single mom. I'm a project manager. I have two kids. And then she started crying right there because she realized in that moment that she had absolutely no idea who she was anymore outside of what she did for other people. And here's the thing. This is not Sarah's fault. This is not your fault if you're feeling this way right now, because there's actually psychology behind this. When you go through something traumatic like a divorce or a bad breakup, especially when kids are involved, your brain goes into what's basically survival mode. You stop asking the big questions like, who am I and what do I want? Because you're too busy just trying to keep everyone alive and fed and okay. You're trying to figure out how to pay rent on one income. You're trying to keep your kids from falling apart. You're putting out fires all day, every day. So what happens is you just grab onto the easiest label available, which is single mom, and you just become that. That becomes the whole thing. Psychologists actually call this identity foreclosure, and it's really common, but nobody talks about it. And the problem is, and this is what I really need you to hear, single mom is a circumstance. It's not an identity. It's something that happened to you. It's a chapter you're in, it's a season of your life, but it is not the whole book. It's not who you are at your core. But when you let it become your whole identity, a few really damaging things start to happen. So first, and this one stings a little, so brace yourself, you're basically giving your ex power over your identity. Think about that for a second. He's gone, but you're still letting his absence define who you are. That's That's not okay. That's not what you deserve. The second is that you collapse your entire self-worth into this one role. So when parenting feels hard, when you lose your temper with your kids, when you feel like you're failing at the single mom thing, you think you're a failure as a human because you got nothing else to fall back on. And finally, and this is the saddest one, you become invisible to yourself. You stop seeing your own gifts, your personality, the things that make you you. All you see is the struggle. All you see is the role. All the other parts of you just kind of fade away. And the problem doesn't stop here. What makes it worse is that the world will treat you exactly how you present yourself. If you walk around saying that you're a single mom, guess what? That's all anyone's going to see. They're not going to see the brilliant, creative, resilient, amazing woman underneath. They're just going to see the label because that's all you showed them. Okay, so now that we've talked about the problem, let's actually fix it. And I'm going to be real with you. What I'm about to share, I normally only give inside my coaching calls, but I feel like this is so important and so many women need it that I'm just going to give it to you right here. These are the exact exercises I walk my clients through in our first few sessions together, and I've seen these completely shift how women see themselves within like a week. It's actually kind of crazy how fast it works when you actually do the work. So, grab a journal or open the Notes app on your phone or whatever. Actually do these. Don't just watch. The magic is in the doing. Okay, the first exercise is called the identity audit. This is simple, but it's going to be harder than you think. I want you to complete this sentence. I am 10 times. But you cannot say single mom, you cannot say your job title, and you cannot define yourself in relation to someone else. So no, I'm a mom, or I'm someone's daughter, or I'm an ex-wife. None of that. You can only describe you, your traits, your quirks, your interests, your values, the weird little things that make you you. So like for me, it would be things like, I am creative. I am obsessed with true crime podcasts, and I'm not sorry about it. I am resilient as hell. I am a night owl. I am someone who cries at those dog reunion videos every single time. I am learning to set better boundaries. I am funnier than I give myself credit for. I am a deep thinker. I am a work in progress, and I'm okay with that. See what I mean? None of that has anything to do with my kids or my relationship status. It's just me. Now, when I do this exercise with clients, a lot of them get stuck around number 3 or 4. They're just staring at the page like, I don't know what else to say. And that's when the tears usually come, because they realize how completely they've lost themselves. But here's what I tell them, and what I want to tell you. You didn't lose yourself. You buried yourself. You buried yourself under responsibility and survival mode and guilt and shame, but you're still in there, and we're about to dig you back up with that first step. Now, the second exercise, called Remembering the Before Kids You. In this step, I want you to close your eyes for a second and go back in time. Think about yourself at like 18, 19, 20 years old, before the relationship, before the kids, before everything got complicated. Who were you then? What did you love doing? What made you laugh until your stomach hurt? What were you good at? What did you dream about becoming? Really sit with that. Let yourself remember her and write those things down. Because here's the thing, that girl, she didn't die. She didn't disappear. She's just been quiet for a really long time because she didn't think she was allowed to exist anymore. She thought she had to step aside and let mom take over completely. But she's still in there, waiting, hoping you'll remember her. One of my clients did this exercise, and she burst into tears because she remembered she used to paint. Like, she was actually really good at it, but she hadn't touched a paintbrush in 12 years because she'd convinced herself she didn't have time for silly hobbies anymore. We got her painting again within 2 weeks, and she told me it was the first time she'd felt like herself in over a decade. Now, the last exercise, and this one sounds kind of dark, but stay with me. It's called the eulogy test, and it will give a new perspective on how you can unlock your true identity. I want you to imagine it's the end of your life. You've lived a long, full life, your kids are grown, and they're standing up at your funeral to talk about you. What do you want them to say? Do you want them to say, "My mom was a single mom who struggled and sacrificed everything for us"? Or do you want them to say, "My mom was a force. She was creative and fun, and she taught us that you can rebuild your life no matter what happens. She showed us what it looks like to be a whole person, not just a mom"? That second version is who you actually are, underneath all the labels and the exhaustion and the survival mode. That's the woman we're trying to reconnect you with. Just live that scene and ask yourself, what do you want your sons and daughter to say about you? Take your time, use your imagination and deep thinking, and write this down. Do those exercises every day, even multiple times a day. Touch on them from different angles. Always write new things that comes to mind. Reads what you wrote whenever you have time, 100 times if you can, because that's how you get back and remember your true old identity. That's how you start manifesting and living it again through those mental exercises, a deep psychological reinforcement. Okay, now that I talked about those mental exercises that are great for like internal work and shifting how you see yourself in your own head, you also need to change some external stuff. Because how you see yourself mirrored to the outside world. And we fix that in those mental exercises, but how you show up in the world reinforces even further how you see yourself, because it goes both ways. So here's some practical stuff on how you can start acting and living your true self and identity literally today. Number one, change how you introduce yourself. This sounds small, but it's actually huge. Next time someone asks about you, I want you to lead with something other than your parental or relationship status. So instead of, "I'm a single mom of two," you say something like, "I'm a graphic designer, and I've been really into hiking lately, and I also have a very beautiful son and a daughter," or anything like that that you have wrote from that first mental exercise. You hear the difference? The kids are still there. You're not hiding them or pretending they don't exist, but they're not the first thing. They're not the definition. They're just part of the picture. This is going to feel so weird at first. I'm not going to lie. It felt weird for me too. But you're literally rewiring how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. You're teaching everyone, including yourself, that you are more than this one role. Number two, reclaim one thing you used to love. Remember that exercise about who you were before kids? I want you to take one thing from that list, just one, and I want you to do it this week, even for 10 minutes. Maybe you used to love reading novels, but you haven't finished a book in 3 years. Start one. Maybe you used to paint. Do that. Maybe you used to write poetry, hang out with friends, or go to yoga or whatever. Just do it. And I already know what you're thinking. I don't have time for that. I know. I hear this constantly from everyone I work with. But you need to understand the importance of that activity and see it from a new perspective. That this isn't about having a good time. It's about proving to yourself that you still exist outside of your responsibilities. It's about showing your nervous system that you still matter, that your preferences and your interests and your joy still count for something. 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes this week, and preferably a day for faster brain adaptation and reinforcement. Number 3, start a me list. This is one of my favorite tools, and it's so simple. Just start a running list on your phone or in a journal called Things That Are True About Me. And whenever you notice something about yourself that has nothing to do with being a mom, write it down. Like, I hate cilantro, I'm weirdly good at parallel parking, I love thunderstorms, I'm a night person, not a morning person, I laugh really loud, I cry at commercials, I'm loyal to a fault. These things seem small and silly, but they're not. They're evidence. You're collecting evidence that you're a whole, complex person with preferences and quirks and a personality. You're reminding yourself that there's more to you than carpool and meal prep and bedtime routines. Number 4, set identity boundaries. I want you to start noticing when people try to reduce you to your circumstances. Like when someone goes, "Oh, you're a single mom. That must be so hard." And they give you that look. You know it. Instead of just accepting that framing, you can redirect it. You can say something like, "Yeah, it has its challenges, but honestly, I'm also doing some really cool stuff. I just started this business," or "I'm the happiest I've been in years, actually. I started going to the gym and I'm in the best shape of my life." You're not lying. You're not pretending life isn't hard. You're just refusing to let that be the whole story. You're adding to it. You're expanding how people are allowed to see you. Finally, number 5, and this is the hardest one, is to stop apologizing for taking up space. Single moms are so conditioned to shrink, to not want too much, to not ask for too much, to just be grateful we're surviving at all. But you're allowed to want more. You're allowed to have hobbies and ambitions and a dating life and high standards and joy. You're allowed to take up space in this world as a full human being. And honestly, your kids need you to do this. They don't need a martyr. They need a model. They need to see what it looks like when a woman knows her own worth and lives like she matters. Okay, so let me bring this all home. What I want you to walk away with today is this. You are not a label. You're not a circumstance. You're not defined by what happened to you or who left you or how hard things got. You are a complex, interesting, evolving, powerful woman who happens to be raising kids on her own right now. That's part of your story. It's not the whole story. And the moment you start seeing yourself that way, the moment you start introducing yourself that way, talking to yourself that way, living that way, everything changes. How you feel about yourself changes, how you show up in the world changes, how other people treat you changes. I've watched this happen hundreds of times. I've watched women go from completely invisible and lost to building the lives they actually want, starting businesses, finding real love, actually enjoying their lives instead of just surviving them. It starts with reclaiming who you are outside of the role. So do the exercises, start the list, change how you introduce yourself, remember who you were before, and decide right now, today, that you're allowed to be whole because you are. If this hit home for you, share it with women who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling me one thing you wrote on your I am list. I actually read all of them, and I love seeing women remember who they are. I'll see you in the next one. Keep going. You're doing so much better than you think.